Hi, my name is Wei Guolu. We helped our customer design, build, and operate a large service provider in Paris network. There were hundreds of PEs routers, and on top of them, there were thousands of VPN services. Every one of those services were hand-built on the router CLI during our PS engagement. They worked, but here was the catch. All of it lives outside of any controller. There was no single source of truth, no lifecycle automation, no assurance. If we want closed-loop management for the devices and the services, we have to bring every one of these services under Juniper Routing Director. And that's where the challenge is. JRD does not natively support Brownfield yet. So today, onboarding a devices means an operator sits in a JRD GUI and manually recreated, click by click, filling in and update a resource like a route distinguisher, route target, ESI, RRB, or BGP IP, etc., etc. There were thousands of manual clicks, services by services, and side by side. And the real risk is that if any value does not match the live config exactly, the cutover causes an outage. So it's not just tedious, it's fragile. Every value has to be reproduced perfectly during the entire migration. So the question we asked was, can we make this faster, repeatable, and safe without clicking marathon and without dropping a single packet? And how to convince our existing customer to adopt to our JRD automation solution? That's what this pipeline does. So instead of clicking through the GUI, I built a Copilot agent-based migration pilot that orchestrates the entire workflow, and it's human-in-the-loop model. Every critical step is gated and operator approved, so nothing touches the network without a human say go. The way I drive it is a natural language via the voice and the chat. I just tell the agent what I want, and it replaces all those JRD GUI clicks or Junos show command and return a summarized result to me. Under the hood, it auto-discovers and parses the live router config, so there was a zero gap with what's actually running in production. The Brownfield config becomes the source of truth, and the agent pings those exact value automatically into the service order. Then the commit changes Hitless and deactivate the old config and run a pre-post check, just like what an engineer would do during a manual network migration. And because it's agent-driven pipeline, it's flexible and reusable. I can run the migration along with Copilot using natural language or manually running the core script interactively. Or I could expose the entire structure as MCP services. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I migrate a real EVPN paired with L3VPN services for VLAN 201. Let me explain the network diagram a little bit more before we dive into the demo. So I have a network site that consists of two PE routers, A and B. They're running side by side as a redundant PE. The CE sits behind EX44 and pairing with both of the PE router via the eBGP, and then it's running BFD apparently. On every PE router, there was the EVPN and L3VPN stitched via the RRB 201. So basically, the anycast RRB interfaces providing the L3 interfaces through which the BGP pairing is anchored on. Now, These configurations are already running as a brownfield config in my lab topology. I'm going to show you how I drive the brownfield migration so that the service will be transitioned onto the JRD without a BGP flap or BFD flap. So let me paste the prompt here. And then the orchestrator agent will first parse what I want to do as a first step. The first step is to read through the instruction and the migration plan that I created, and then print out a summary of what I'm trying to ask the agent do. So it's just telling me summarize the service, the EVPN and the less VPN, which is paired services that I'm asking the agent to do to migrate and print out the planned sequences. It will run the EVPN first, migrating first, and then it will run the less VPN second, and then it will deactivate. It will start a deactivation as the entire phases and apparently it will do a pre and post check, as you can see later. And then just try to confirm with me, because the script is production. I mean, the pipeline is production ready. It's trying to confirm with me whether it's a lab or production in the current state. Because this migration has been done before, so it's just trying. I just trying to rerun. Okay. Let's continue and kickstart this migration workflow, and I agree with the intent. So So I think it will still. Let me ask. So as the next step is to rerun the parse to making sure that it understood my requirement properly. So it will run through the collected configuration and making sure it understood and also log on to the router to check the configuration, whether or not it's there. It's just invoking a helper script to understand the current status, and it will print out the summary, what it finds. So as part of the workflow, the agent did some preliminary check. So it tells me that the JRD, before I forgot, I need to show there was some VPN service already there on my JRD GUI. And after it's pre-check, it tells me that, okay, there was no there was the VPN that and then less VPN that I want to migrate is clean. It's not there on the JRD. It only exists on the live router or brownfield. It's active, right? So it will confirm this make a before break rules. So the step 2, it will do the parse config again. Actually, it parsed. I've just finished, right? Just parse the configuration that it collected on both router A and B. Just making sure everything value just review with me. Looking quite okay with me. Sure, go ahead with next step. So the next step is to create a JRD dry run service order and deploy this dry run service order, instantiate the service order on the GUI. So basically, this is like a human gate, right? I only I provide approval, then the workflow will continue, right? So basically, as you see, it's invoking the main service script to create a dry run-based service order. It's already there. Okay, so the VLAN 201 EVPN service order as a dry run, it's in the dry run state. During dry run state, we can see the dry run state basically has two small steps. The first step is we'll pick up any random like ESI, any random unit RD, IRB RD, because we are migrating to 201. It's supposed to be 201, right? So the initial one is the resources allocated randomly by the Juno JRD placement. And then the second one, it should run another dry run. Yeah, basically it's next step. Next step is to making sure the correct resources like RDRT unit and ESI should be exactly the same as the Brownfield. So, okay, let's move on to step 4. Let's run the pinning process. And here we can see all the progress of every service creation or any configuration checking. So let's see. So basically, it will use the parse the EVPN resources like ESI and RDRT value and unit number to update the initial service order, right? So it's still processing. Yeah, it's running pins process. Let's see, I think 433. So it's done. The pin already done, finished successfully. The Brownfield value already placed into the new service order. Right now, it's still in the dry run, which means no configuration being pushed or deployed, no configuration being pushed to devices. The service order on the JRD system is still in the dry run. At this point, I can verify the RTRD unit, right? It just summarized. I can also click into the service order. A moment ago, we were seeing a temporary ESI. Now it's like the final ESI, and I see correct RD, correct IRB. If we look into the site, we should see two site network access, basically representing each redundant PE and selecting the correct interfaces, select the correct VLANs. And because this EVPN needs to be stitched to the layer 3 VPN, so the RRB or layer 3 gateway, it should be enabled. Yeah. Okay, the placement looks quite okay. So I should provide my approval. Yes, let's move on to the next step to compare the configuration. So basically, as part of the pipeline, the agent will invoke a script to compare the JRD generated configuration in set format, and then compare it with whatever information on the brownfield on the live router NB, and provide a summary report what it find. So basically, what we're saying is that as long as the key configuration are identical between the JRD produced config and the brownfield config, we should be good, right? Like RTRD should be exact the same, and I can review the log file, and it just tell me like what are the identical part. There are some differences, minor differences, which doesn't impact any services. So we should be good. Like these duplicate MAC that's not available, not deployed on the brownfield config, but it will be pushed via the JRD. So that's just fine. Now let's move on to next step. Yes, ready to commit. Let's move on. So this is the next step. It's gonna the pipeline will push the config onto both router A and B under a specific JRD Junos group, because the brownfield configuration lives under main stanza, and the JRD produced config lives under the Junos group. So as long as the key value they are identical, we shouldn't expect any interruption. Let's look at the workflow, the instance, the status. Okay, I think it's pushing. It's still processing. This needs quite a few seconds because it needs to commit config to both router. That is okay. I need to provide this. From time to time, Copilot, the pipeline will generate some temporary file that's outside of my workspace. I need to provide approval as well. So the config was pushed actually, and then as part of the configure push, it will invoke a helper file, just like before the migration, right? Just examine like what config has been pushed. As you can see, the raw config, that raw command, basically it's just telling me what config was ESI. So I think it should be good. Provide a summary. Okay. Okay, now since the EVPN config has been created and it's ready for the LS-VPN migration. So as first step, it will parse the LS-VPN on top of the collected config from the lab, right? It just summarizes what is going to be migrated for this LS-VPN. So that's the name of the LS-VPN, that's the policy, RDRT, IRB, BGP, all the key details. Okay, I'm good with that. Sure, let's move on to the paired LS-VPN migration. So this is actually the LS-VPN, the phase 2 LS-VPN that the pipeline is trying to move. running some, yeah, it's creating a dry run service order, I believe. Yes, this is dry run, as you can see. So it should be a new service order. Yes, there was new service order pushed to the JRD, and this is the layers VPN. And as just as EVPN, there should be a automatic placement to select some, temporary resources. We need to wait for it's it's successful. If we click into it, we will see some temporary value, like the RD is apparently is not the one we wanted. It should be like 2011. Yeah, as you can see here, right? Okay, so the next step is going to pinning the layers VPN resources to making sure they are identical. Okay, yes, go ahead with step 3. And because this layers VPN is mapped to the gold services, so there should be a color extended community associated with the import-export policy, along with the VPN native RT value. So let's see. Okay, now I think it's just trying to pinning. So as long as it's drying, right, it doesn't push anything to the router. Wait for it's finishing, it's still running. Okay, the script status says successful. Let's refresh. It's successful, right? So the pin is successful. We can take a look, making sure, the RD has been corrected. How about the SNA? The customer side information, like yes, unit also. This unit is actually paired with the EVPN, so it should be correctly picked up. So the IP should be okay. Looks great to me. Let's see. So next step is comparing the. Okay, let's start the configuration comparison. So just like a EVPN services, right? The comparator will be a script will be invoked by the orchestrator agent and produce a configuration summary, telling me what's common, what's differences. Because the VPN import export policy might be, the name will be different, but as long as different from the Brownfield config, but as long as the BGP RT and the color community is the same as the Brownfield, we should be good. Even though the script says, like the policy is still JRD only, but that's, we believe it's okay as long as if you look at the summary, right? So even though the name of difference is different, but the community are good, they are matched, so it's all checked. And then there are some other things that's minor, so we believe it's okay. Okay, let's push this service order to the router. So basically, the service order builder script will be invoked by the agent again, but just for this list VPN, and it's making sure it's in the lab environment for this customer. And then if we look at the GUI, there should be, yes, the service order is under processing. The pipeline is waiting for its completion before it checks the result. Okay, I think the order has been successfully completed for the list VPN. Now, as you can see here, the orchestrator invoke a helper script to compare what's being pushed to the labor route A and B, right? Looks quite okay to me. And then it's just checking the pre-post, the not pre-post. It's just after initial commit of the service order. It's just actively checking the BGP on both router, making sure it's quite okay before we kick off a deactivator process. So just summarize to me what it's going to do is to deactivate list 3 VPN first and then EVPN second. It's part of the workflow, but making sure after that deactivation, the BGP, the VPN BGP should be up and running. So far, it's 6 days. Sure, let's start the deactivation process and verify. So as you can see, the orchestrator invoked the activator for this service and this customer, and it will try to, I think, deactivate the layer 3 VPN under the main stanza first. Yeah, it's trying to, it's working on layer 3 VPN first. At this point, nothing will be changed on the GUI side. It's just the regular, deactivation as if we are manually doing this migration. There was something wrong with the terminal, but I think it will figure out. Okay, it just started a pre-check for router A for BGP. BGP is okay. We can check the command. Okay. So pre-check is okay, and then it's just trying to deactivate on router A for the layer 3 VPN. I think it's done. Yeah, passed. No deviation. Post check it did match. Just in case, we take a look here, router A. So show BGP summary. Yes, it's there. Right? If we do show compare rollback 1, yeah, it's just deactivate the interfaces and the layer 3 VPN instance, just in case. Okay, so that's a pass. I think it's just doing another round of check of the configuration being applied, making sure it's a complete. Yeah. So the original main stanza L3VPN has been deactivated, and the group one applied by JRD is active, so it's okay. So now, second step, yes, let's move on. So move on means that it will deactivate the EVPN instance and its IRB interfaces under the main standard and verify like the post check. For the EVPN pre-check, post-check, I write the rule saying that the pre-post check needs to look at the number of MAC and number of ARP entry in the EVPN database. So it will just collecting those information. So, okay, and B, router A passed the configuration, which means no EVPN entry are different. ARP entry should be no differences. And we should be good. Okay, at the end of the migration, as part of the workflow, the orchestrator just did another round of BGP check, right? So it says the BGP is still up and running on both router A and B, and then once again, these rules can be, customized. Like if we want to do a pin or any additionals, we just we can update the instruction. At this point, the paired led 3VPN EVPN over VLAN 201 is on the final state. Native config was deactivated. JRD takes over and summarize it. Okay, we should be good.